Kannst du mir eine spannende Geschichte erzählen in 3 Sätzen?
Natürlich. Ich kann dir gerne eine spannende Geschichte erzählen. Hier ist eine Geschichte in 3 Sätzen. In einer dunklen und stürmischen Nacht wurde ein altes, mysteriöses Buch in einer verborgenen Bibliothek entdeckt. Als der Leser das Buch aufschlug,
Parli
wurden...
italiano?
Sì, parlo italiano. Sono qui per aiutarti e rispondere alle tue domande nella lingua italiana. Cosa posso fare per te oggi?
Español?
Sí, hablo español. Estoy aquí para ayudarte y responder a tus preguntas en español. ¿En qué puedo ayudarte hoy?
Türkiye'nin başkenti neresidir?
Türkiye'nin başkenti Ankara'dır. Ankara, ülkenin 𝐿𝐻, ekonomik ve kültürel merkezi olarak hizmet vermektedir. Türkiye'nin
Okay,
diğer
I
büyük
think
şehirleri...
that worked really well. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. I'm glad it worked smoothly. I'm designed to adapt to the language you're speaking, so it was a great test to see how I could switch between different languages and respond accordingly.
By the end of this video, you will be able to build this free multilingual voice bot for yourself, because I will be walking you through each and every step in detail and provide you with all the resources that you need for free. I will first walk you through an overview of how the voice bot works and how it's free. Then we will go through the setup of the accounts that you need. At the end, I will show you how to install this voice bot on your computer. Enjoy! You will find all the resources that I mentioned in this video here inside of my resource hub. Here you find the Miro Board, and here you find the Github repo with the detailed guide that I will be showing you. But you can also find a lot of other things here, templates, everything is free, a lot of cool stuff, so definitely check it out and yeah, get started here. Okay, first let me explain to you how this setup is actually free and how it works, so you can adjust it for your specific use case. If you're new to Voice AI, this is basically how Voice AI works on a very surface level. It basically consists of 3 components, namely a speech-to-text model, a text-based large language model, and a text-to-speech model. So a speech-to-text model is a model that converts or transcribes audio, so the caller's audio, into a text format. Then this text is fed into an LLM, and the LLM generates a response to the caller's question or whatever he asked or said. And after that, and it outputs the text in text format, of course, and then the text again needs to be converted into audio so we can actually hear what the response was that the LLM generated. So that's basically it, and Pipechat is the framework that stitches these components together and yeah, allows it to work seamlessly and fast. And if we want to scale our agents and use them in production and have multiple callers speak to the agent at the same time without the agent crashing, then we need something called a WebRTC platform, which in this use case we are using daily as our WebRTC platform. But you don't have to use it, you can use one of your choice. But a WebRTC platform is basically the place that allows 2 devices to communicate with each other in real time. And we are using daily because it gives us 5,000 minutes per month for free. Yeah, and it's a great choice. So, and let me tell you about the other stuff here, how we are able to make the whole thing for free. So we are using Gladia here because it gives us 10 hours per month free credits, and with my partnership with them, and by the way, this video is sponsored by them, so you get the benefit of additional $300 of free credits. What you have to do for that is sign up to this link here if you don't have an account yet. If you do have an account, you can skip this step and then you fill out this form to get your $300 of credits for Gladia. But why did I actually choose Gladia and not other transcribers? The main reason is because Gladia is often recommended specifically for multilingual transcription. People always have been recommending it. For example, here I've put some recommendations together so you have some proof. So for example, Shane from the 𝐒𝐻𝐞 team, he said Gladia is pretty good for Arabic. And by the way, here I linked the sources for every screenshot. And Quindla, he's the CEO of Daily and PipeCat actually, and he says the language auto detection is the best I've seen from any speech model. And another member of PipeCat or Daily also recommends Gladia, and people also have been recommending it specifically for the French language, since Gladia is a French company, and as Mark says, I would expect French performance to be quite good, and it actually is. But that's not it about Gladia. Gladia has many other features that a lot of other transcribers don't have, and why I'm using it here and why I want to introduce you to Gladia, because you can do much more with it than what I will actually present today. Another cool feature, for example, is the translation feature, which means, for example, while I'm speaking English, it's able to translate into any other language that is supported by Gladia in real time. So you could, for example, create a voice bot that does real-time translations, which is cool. Then Gladia also has automatic language detection and also the ability to limit the number of languages for better speed and accuracy, which we are going to make use of today. Another thing is code switching, or I don't know what it has to do with code, but it's actually language switching. So the ability to switch languages mid-conversation. We are going to look into that too. Speaker diarization is the ability to differentiate between several speakers. Partial transcripts is another very useful feature which we are not going to use today, but I wanted to show it to you because it's something that you can use to improve latency. For example, you could have, if you have a really complicated bot, for example, with some conversational nodes where you divided your agent tasks into multiple nodes, then you can use partial transcripts to detect the user's intention early on. For example, like here, can you tell me the weather in? At this point, we know that the user wants a weather query, and then we can go to the weather node instead of, for example, I don't know, the crypto node, let's say, and then start generate response while the user is still completing its sentence and saying Berlin today. So we can get a response much faster. This is really great. Let me know if you worked with this and what you were able to create using partial transcripts. I would be really curious to know. Okay, let's go to the next one, our LLM. So in this case, we are using Groq as our provider. Why? Because Groq has a lot of generous daily free credits that they provide us with. And what I've done in this case is something very interesting. Actually implemented a system which will loop through these models. You can define yours as you want, but let's say if your first model rate limit hits or exceeded, then it will automatically go to your second model that you defined, and so on and so forth. So you can use this to the max, let's say. And next one is text-to-speech, and here you can either use Gemini or Azure. If you use Gemini, you get $300 of free credits if you sign up, if you are a new sign up. And here Gemini gives us two kinds of TTS. One is the Pro version and the other is the Flash. Obviously the Pro version is better, but it also costs more. And here, yeah, as you can see here, this costs $10 per million audio tokens, and audio tokens correspond to 25 tokens per second of audio, and this one costs $20. So once you used up your free credits, it's still cheaper than 11 Labs. And yeah, so if you already have an account and a Google account and cannot create a new one, you can use Azure's free credits. They give you $200 of free credits for new signups, and you get 500,000 characters per month for free here. But Azure also has a lot of other free credits programs, for example, for startups or students, which you get more free credits if you apply for them. So Azure has a standard voice, so they also have two kinds of voices, the neural ones and the neural HD ones. Obviously this one is the better one, but for some reason they didn't give price information, but you can expect this to be maybe $20 or $25, I'm not sure. And you can also have your own custom voices here. So in short, this is basically how our voice bot of today works. We have Gladia, which transcribes the audio to text and at the same time detects the language that the user just spoke. And then we have our LLMs inside of Groq, which generate a response, and if a model hits a rate limit, then it switches to the next model, and so on. And then once the response was generated here, it will be converted into speech based on and it will actually choose the voice based on the language that Gladia detected here. For those who don't know me, hi, I'm Noor. I've been building voice AI agents for almost 2 years now, and if you need a voice bot for your company, then please feel free to set up a call with me so we can discuss your specific use case and needs, and I can show you the voice bots that I've already built. And yeah, let's talk. The first thing that we need to do is creating the accounts that we need, and we will start with Gladia here. I will click this link that I provided you, and here you will fill out the information or just log in with your Google account. This is how it will look like once you're signed up, and in the playground you can actually try how Gladia works. Here, let's have a look. So here they also provide you with configurations, JSON, Python, TypeScript, and curl files that you just can copy paste. Here it changes based on the settings that you choose, and then you can just copy paste it. But we don't need a lot of settings for our use case, so we will not do that. But let's try this actually. So here you can see the multilingual switching that I told you about before. We will say yes to this. Language detection, it's best to specify the languages that you will be using if you know them already, because this improves speed and accuracy. So in this case, let me try it with English and German. And here, as you can see, you can also have partial results on or off and a lot of other nice features. But let's try this out as is. Hello, can you hear me? Was ist die Hauptstadt von Deutschland? Cool. As you can see, it was really fast and it detected the language automatically. Yeah, that's it as for Gladia, and now we are going to set up our next account. Next, we will set up our Groq account. Another reason actually why I chose Groq is because it's known to be very fast, which is what we need in Voice AI, right? You can try it out here for free and create your account here. This is how it looks like for me. I'm already signed up. This we will need later on because we will need our API key for our voice bot. And here you can see the top models, which you can later define inside of your voice bot, which ones you actually want to use. As you can see, some are best for reasoning, some are best for multilingual, so you can choose whatever works best for you. In general, of course, I would recommend to choose the fastest and smartest one. But if you want to do function calls, which we are not going to do today, but if you're going to do function calls, you'll need to also choose a model that is able to do function calls, because not all of them are able to do function calls. So yeah, just to note that. Yeah, if you click the docs, you will find some information about the rate limits, so you can choose your models accordingly, because some have higher limits and some have lower limits. And as I said, our voice bot is going through all of them that you defined once you hit the rate limits, so check out that. And also here you can actually get some information about the context window of these models and how fast they are. So we want to choose the fastest one if possible. Next, we need to create our Google Cloud Console account. So for that, type Google Cloud Console into Google and click the first one. Yeah, I'm already signed up. The first thing that you need to do is to go here. Here you can define your projects. If you want to use an existing project, you can just click your existing one, and if you want to create a new one, you can click here. I will use this one for today. The first thing that we need to do is to enable APIs that we need for our voice bot. So let's first click here, APIs and services, and then click on enable APIs and services. Now we are going to search for Gemini API, and we need to activate this one, enable it. So it's enabled. Let's go back and click enable services again, and let's see if there's something called Gemini TTS. No. I think we also need Gemini for cloud. Exactly, this one. Good, it's enabled. Let's search for text to speech. Exactly. Not speech to text, but text to speech. This is what we need. Okay, and here, cool. I think that's it for the APIs that we need to enable. If we forgot to enable something, then we will get an error anyways. So, but let's continue. Next thing is we need to create a service account. Let's click this. Good. Now we will create a service account by clicking this. Let's call it. Why doesn't this work? Strange, but let's just see if it works. Okay, it worked. I can select the role as owner. Continue. Okay, done. Now we need to click here and click manage keys. We will add a key, create new key, and JSON create. So now it downloaded a JSON file with our credentials. We need this file later for our voice bot. And that's it for the Google Cloud Console. If we missed anything, we will get an error inside of the terminal, so we will know. But for now, let's keep it like this. Next, we need an Azure account. If you don't need the Azure TTS but just want to use the Gemini one, then you can skip this part. So I tried to create a completely new account, but it didn't work. I got blocked out of it. So I will just explain to you what you need to do using my old account. If you have any problems with that, let me know in the comments. But what you need to do is basically to first type in here speech services and click this, and then you will click on create here. Then you will create a subscription. I already have one, but I guess if you don't have one, you can create a new one. Exactly. And a resource group, you can create a new one, or I will just use my existing one. Region, you should choose a region that is closest to you. I will choose Germany and give it a name. I will say Multilingual Voice Bot. Pricing, oh, it's already in use. Voice, multilingual voice. Oh, okay, I can't have a space probably. Okay. Pricing tier standard. You can view full pricing details here. I think when you are on the free tier, the free tier for this is being used by your subscription, therefore it will not appear in the drop down below. Exactly, so I already had used it before, so I cannot use it again, but you will have here the free tier also appearing, and you will choose that. So let's click review and create. Okay, create. Cool. Let's go to our resource, and now we should be able to see our API keys, which we will need for later. Exactly, here are our API keys. We will use them in the next part. Now we can finally start with the installation of our multilingual voice bot. I've prepared a very detailed guide of how to do this with all the commands. As you can see, everything that you need. You can find this in my resource hub. Yeah, so let me walk you through the files first, so you have a general idea. Let's start here. So the environment variables. Here we have the environment variables, which we will look into later. Then we have our Azure bot, if we want to use Azure for the TTS. If we want to use Gemini TTS, then we will activate this file. So it's basically the same, both are the same except for the TTS part. Yeah. And this is my Gemini JSON API keys, which we had downloaded earlier when we set up the Google account. And here in this file you can find the dependencies that we need to install. Okay, then let's go through this one by one. We will start with the first command, which is to install UV. And I have the commands here for Windows and Ubuntu Mac OS. I'm on a Ubuntu, so I will do this. This is my cursor. Let's install this here. Okay, worked. And I need to do this. So let's do it, and let's see if it was installed. Yeah, good. Then we will clone our repo, paste that in. It's installing our dependencies right now and copying the .env file so we can put in our API keys. Cool, we are done. Now I will open the folder of my multilingual voice bot. Nice, as you can see, it's the same files as I showed you before. I'm gonna open a terminal here and let's continue here. So Now I need to copy and paste this command for Ubuntu because I get some errors if I don't do it, so I will just paste in this, but I think for Windows you don't need. Okay, while this is installing, we can set up our API keys here. So the first API key that we need is our daily API key. Let's type in daily.co. We will use this one, and as I said, you get 5,000 minutes per month for free. So here we can create a new room. We will call it multilingual and create a room here. So we will need this room in a bit, but let's first get our API key here. Can I create a new one? No, I think I just can have two. I will just use one of these. Okay, let's paste that in here. And I need my daily sample URL. By the way, you don't need these if you don't want to use daily as the WebRTC. We can also just use the local host, which I will show you later. So where you can find your URL is, where is it? So here I had created a room, and then I will just copy this and paste it in here. Cool. And now we need our Gladia API key. So you will go to API keys, create a key, just copy it and paste it in here. Cool. And the region, you can choose one that is closest to you, but you don't have to, it's optional. But for best latency, you should use this. Then we need our Groq API key. Let's create an API key. Nice. Copy that and paste it in. Okay. Next, we need to specify the path that our JSON file with our Google Cloud Console API keys is inside of. So you remember we downloaded that JSON file, which I will paste in here. This is my old one this is like an example one from my repo, so you have an idea of how it looks like, but I will delete that one for now, and I will just get my newly downloaded one, which is this one. So good. Now I need the path of this file, copy path and paste it inside of here. Nice. Then I need to specify my TTS model that I want to use. Here I use Pro, but you can also choose between Flash and Pro. Pro is the better one. Here I'm specifying the languages that I want to use. If you want to use other ones, you can change these, but you have to make sure that the languages that you want to use are supported by Gladia as well as by the TTS that you use. So you should check that out first. Okay, then here we define the Google voices that we want to use. Let me show you how that works. So we will go to that link that I have in the docs for you, and here you can see the voices. So you will look for the language that you need, and you will just copy the voice ID that you need for the language and paste it in here. As you can see, I chose like different persons for each voice, but if you want the same person for different voices, you will just use the same name for all of them. So for example, I can just use Sharon. I can replace this with Sharon, and then the same person will just speak different languages. This is also possible, but I chose different persons for this use case, so you can notice the switch in in voices. Yeah, and here you can define your Azure voices. Let's have a look at that. Exactly, here are Azure voices, which you will just copy the ID from and paste them in here. And here you will define the models for the LLM that you want to use. If you, for example, just want to use 3 models, you can just define the first 3 and leave the rest empty, but I recommend you to always fill up all of them. And if you want to use just one model, you can just have the first one defined and then upgrade your Groq account so it never runs out of limits or credits, and it will just stay at one model. But with this fallback system that I designed, it will always use your free daily limits with all these models. Okay, now the last step is to get your Azure API key, and this we can get here. Just copy that and paste here, and your region will be the one that is here. Okay, let's save that. Okay, here I'm explaining everything in more detail than what I just said. And now to run this, so there's 2 ways of running this. You can run it locally or with the daily transport that we set up. So let's try both. We will first run the Google one locally. Let's see if that will work. Okay, paste that into your browser. Allow, connect.
I'm ready to assist you. What do you need help with?
What's your name?
My name is Assistant, but I don't have a personal name like humans do. I'm here to help answer your questions and provide information on a wide range of topics.
Kannst du mir eine spannende Geschichte erzählen in 3 Sätzen?
Natürlich. Ich kann dir gerne eine spannende Geschichte erzählen. Hier ist eine Geschichte in 3 Sätzen. In einer dunklen und stürmischen Nacht wurde ein altes, mysteriöses Buch in einer verborgenen Bibliothek entdeckt. Als der Leser das Buch aufschlug,
Parli italiano?
Sì, parlo italiano. Sono qui per aiutarti e rispondere alle tue domande nella lingua italiana. Cosa posso fare per te oggi?
Español?
Sí, hablo español. Estoy aquí para ayudarte y responder a tus preguntas en español. ¿En qué puedo ayudarte hoy?
Türkiye'nin başkenti neresidir?
Türkiye'nin başkenti Ankara'dır. Ankara, ülkenin AKİ, ekonomik ve kültürel merkezi olarak hizmet vermektedir. Türkiye'nin diğer büyük şehirleri...
That worked really well. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. I'm glad it works smoothly. I'm designed to adapt to the language you're speaking, so it was a great test to see how I could switch between different languages and respond accordingly.
Cool. Gemini worked really well, and now we are going to try out Azure. And for Azure, let's actually use the daily transport so you can see how it's different than the localhost one. So, okay, let's check that out. Copy that link. Now you should actually see this localhost redirecting to our daily URL that we defined in our environment variable. Exactly, see? And also the room. Also the room that we had defined. Let's join this.
Ready to help. What's on your mind?
Can you hear me well?
Yes, I can hear you just fine.
Türkçe biliyor musun?
Evet, Türkçe biliyorum. Nasıl yardımcı olabilirim?
Was ist die Hauptstadt von Deutschland?
Die Hauptstadt von Deutschland ist Berlin.
Tu parles le français?
Oui, je parle français. Comment puis-je vous aider?
Español?
Sí, hablo español. ¿En qué puedo ayudarte?
Okay, I think that's it. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. It was a pleasure helping you test my languages. Have a great day.
Bye. That's about it. So let me know if you have any questions or any problems with that. I'm happy to help you out in the comments. I've been working in 𝐻𝑜ice_AI and have been doing content in 𝐻𝑜ice_AI for almost 2 years now. And for those who know me since the beginning, know that I started with WAPI and retail, closed 𝐻Oice_AI platforms, but now I've decided to focus more on open source platforms because they simply give us more flexibility in designing our voice AI agents and also are much more affordable. You are not paying for any hosting costs if you don't want to. So yeah, that's why I created this community, which is free now if you join before it's launching on November 7th. We already have 450 almost members, and also the founder of PipeCat is actually here. And what we will be doing here is talking about open source voice AI only, mainly focusing on LiveKit and PipeCat for right now, as these are the most popular ones. So yeah, if you want to learn about this more, please join and communicate with others, network, and share what you know and learn about open source voice AI. See you there. The next video will be about this cool WhatsApp voice AI bot, which is 100% free and also integrates with Stripe and sends payment links. Isn't that cool? So yeah, a lot of people requested this tutorial, so I will be doing it in the next one. So subscribe so you don't miss it.